Greetings, folks. You've tuned in to Know What's Trending, your premium destination for the latest trending information. Today, we're diving into the world of health and fitness with a focus on a common term you've probably heard before, body mass index, or BMI. Now, BMI is a numerical value that gives us a rough idea of whether a person's body weight is healthy for their height. It's a simple calculation, really, based on your weight and height. It's like a quick snapshot of your health status, giving you a ballpark figure of where you stand on the weight spectrum. But remember, it's not the be-all and end-all of health indicators. It's a useful tool, but it does have its limitations. So, if you've ever wondered how to calculate your BMI, or what it really tells you about your health, stay tuned. We're about to demystify it all for you. Scene script. First things first, what is BMI and why should we care? Body mass index, commonly known as BMI, is a numerical value that gives us an estimate of whether a person's body weight is healthy for their height. Think of it as a snapshot, a single figure that helps us gauge if we're in the right weight zone for our height. The magic of BMI lies in its simplicity. It's a straightforward calculation based on two variables we all know, our weight and our height. Here's how it goes. BMI equals our weight in kilograms divided by the square of our height in meters. Simple, right? But why do we care about BMI? Well, it serves as a useful indicator of whether we're underweight, at a normal weight, overweight, or in the obesity range. These categories are standard across the globe, and they're based on health risk. For instance, being underweight can lead to malnutrition, weakened immunity, and developmental problems. Being overweight or obese, on the other hand, increases the risk of numerous health conditions like heart disease, diabetes, and certain types of cancer. However, you should remember that BMI is a general tool, and it has its limitations. It doesn't account for factors like muscle mass, bone density, or body composition. A professional athlete, for example, might have a high BMI because of increased muscle mass, not excess body fat. Therefore, while BMI can give us a good starting point, it may not be the best health indicator for everybody. The categories for BMI are as follows. If your BMI is less than 18.5, you're considered underweight. A BMI between 18.5 and 24.9 falls within the normal weight range. Overweight is classified as a BMI between 25 and 29.9. Obesity is further divided into three classes. Class 1 is a BMI between 30 and 34.9. Class 2 is between 35 and 39.9. And Class 3, or severe obesity, is a BMI of 40 or more. Now that we've got the basics down, it's time to dive into the calculation part. Step 1 in our journey to calculate BMI is measuring your weight. Now, this is a simple task, but one that needs to be done accurately. Find yourself a good quality scale. It doesn't have to be fancy, but it does need to be reliable. Stand on the scale, evenly distributing your weight on both feet. Make sure you're not leaning on anything, as this can alter the reading. It's also best to measure your weight in the morning, before eating or drinking anything, and with minimal clothing. This gives you the most precise measure of your body weight. We're measuring in kilograms here. If your scale shows pounds, don't worry. You can easily convert pounds to kilograms by dividing the number by 2.2. So, let's say your scale reads 80 kilograms. That's your body weight. Write it down. You'll need it for the next steps. With your weight noted, we move on to the next step. Measuring your height. Step 2 is all about height. Let's figure out how to measure it accurately. Now, height is a straightforward measure, but it needs to be done right. You'll need a flat surface, a wall, and a measuring tape or a ruler that measures in meters. Make sure you're barefoot to get the most precise measurement. Stand straight against the wall, your back and heels touching the flat surface. Look straight ahead. Have someone mark the highest point of your head on the wall. Measure the distance from the floor to the mark. That's your height. Remember, accuracy is key here. Small discrepancies can make a big difference in your BMI calculation. So take your time and maybe measure a couple of times to be sure. With your height and weight ready, it's time to calculate your BMI. Now comes the fun part, doing the math. You've measured your weight and your height. Now it's time to put those figures to use by calculating your body mass index, or BMI. The formula for calculating your BMI is quite simple. It's your weight in kilograms divided by your height in meters squared. In other words, BMI equals weight divided by height times height. Let's break it down a bit further. Say, for instance, you weigh 70 kilograms and you're 1.75 meters tall. You'd start by squaring your height. That's 1.75 times 1.75, which gives you 3.0625. Then, you'd take your weight, 70 kilograms, and divide it by that number. 70 divided by 3.0625 equals approximately 22.86. So, if you weigh 70 kilograms and you're 1.75 meters tall, your BMI would be 22.86. This number is a helpful indicator of whether your weight is in a healthy range for your height. But remember, this is just a general guideline. It's important to keep in mind that the BMI does not differentiate between body fat and muscle mass. That means if you're particularly athletic or muscular, your BMI might be higher than what's typically considered healthy, even though you're not overweight. Similarly, if you're older or have lost muscle, your BMI might be lower than what's typically considered healthy, even though you might have excess body fat. That's why it's always a good idea to talk to a healthcare professional for a more comprehensive understanding of your health. But for a quick snapshot of your weight in relation to your height, the BMI is a useful tool. It's easy to calculate and it gives you a good starting point for understanding your overall health. And there you have it, you've successfully calculated your BMI. So now you're a pro at calculating your BMI. Let's quickly recap. You've learned to measure your weight in kilograms, your height in meters, and then use these measurements in a simple formula to calculate your body mass index. You've also learned how to interpret your BMI using categories ranging from underweight to obesity class 3. However, remember that while BMI is a handy tool, it doesn't paint the whole picture. It doesn't account for muscle mass, bone density, or your overall body composition. So, while it's a good start, it's always wise to consult with a healthcare professional for a comprehensive health assessment. They can provide a more in-depth analysis and guidance tailored to your unique body type and health needs. Thanks for watching, folks. Remember to hit the like button, share, and subscribe to know what's trending for more informative videos like this one. Until next time.